Music is one of the most subjective art forms in the history of pop culture. No matter how much you may think that one song is trash, there's always someone else with a different perspective that renders your argument invalid. The whole thing gets even more fuzzy when it comes to lyrics. From the moment a song blasts on the radio, fans are more than welcome to take what they want from the singer's lyrical prowess. This leads to millions of skeptical fans around the world trying to crack the facade behind some of the most famous utterances in rock and roll. Regardless of how many times the writer has set their record straight, these are the interpretations that just refuse to go away. I am Kirsten from WhatCulture, and these are 8 song meanings that fans can't accept. Number 8. Foo Fighters My Hero wasn't written for Kurt Cobain. When the Foo Fighters were starting out, most of them weren't sure how long the band would last. Given that the band was assembled after Dave Grohl recorded a self-made debut album, no one had any plans for the group's immediate plans going forward. Luckily, the band's future seemed to be in the clear once Grohl came up with the band's first masterwork, My Hero. In interviews, Grohl would always say that there wasn't an actual person he had in mind, but rather a certain breed of people. The hero is meant to be everyday people who do extraordinary things to help those around them. While it's a nice sentiment, that's apparently not good enough for some fans. Since the song was one of the first written after the demise of Nirvana, many assume that the tune was written in tribute to late grunge icon Kurt Cobain. Although Grohl was admitted that the shadow of Nirvana was still heavy on his mind at the time, he still claims that Kurt was far from being the main inspiration of the song. Even though Grohl has distanced himself from his band in recent years, Cobain's presence will still loom large whenever this song is brought up. Number 7. Bruce Springsteens, born in the USA, criticizes American war practices. Born in the USA marked a pivotal shift in Bruce Springsteen's career. Instead of resting on his laurels as one of the top performers in the country, the tune revitalized his career by updating his sound to fit the 80s synth mold. While many would see the track for its more patriotic nature, it takes most people a while to grasp the track's dark undercurrents. The character in this tune comes back to a country he barely recognizes, with cold-faced people critiquing his service while also suffering from PTSD-addled nightmares. The song even updates the boss's previous effort, Born to Run, by saying this man has nowhere to run and nowhere to go. On the other hand, a bold critique of America's treatment of veterans is a tougher sell to the music-buying public. As such, Springsteen's PR firm really enhanced the more patriotic ring of the title, decking Springsteen out in clothes of a working-class American. Though the song is still played on America's Independence Day, only true fans know the real power behind the lyrics. Number 6. I Will Always Love You is actually a breakup song. Whitney Houston was responsible for taking I Will Always Love You and turning it into a bona fide classic. Though originally a mild hit for Dolly Parton, the song didn't become truly extraordinary until it featured the powerful pipes of Mrs. Houston. She sings the tune with such conviction that most people don't even know it's a breakup song. While the title might lead you to think otherwise, the entire song is about moving on from a relationship that seems to be on the fringes. Though it pains Houston to leave her man, she will still keep him in her heart throughout the rest of her days. Love may be at the centre of this song, but the couple still stays apart by the end of the tune. Then again, most people don't listen past the chorus, leaving many to utilise the song on all kinds of romantic occasions, from weddings to proms and everything in between. If anything, it's a testament to Houston's performance that the sheer power of her voice led many people to forget the finer details of the song's message. This modern classic has been speaking to the souls of fans for years, but don't forget to overlook the sadness behind some of these lyrics. Number 5. In the Air Tonight isn't about a drowning man. While Phil Collins was already a god in the rock world for his years in Genesis, his time as a pop star didn't kick into high gear until In the Air Tonight hit it big. From the chilling atmospherics to the iconic drum break, the song bleeds with absolute menace as Colin begins more disgruntled with every word. Collins may have written from the heart, but the fans have a more tragic idea of what happened. As the alleged story goes, Collins was originally writing the song in regards to a man he saw on a lake near his home. Upon seeing a man drowning in the water, the man refused to save him and left the victim in the water to die. Collins then wrote this song to right the murderer's wrongs and eventually performed it to him at one of his solo shows. Though the theory is certainly intriguing, Collins' real inspiration was less tragic but no less heart-wrenching. After having his wife leave him midway through a tour with Genesis, Collins went back to his empty home and started writing In the Air Tonight as a letter to his wife, as he tried to make peace with his relationship. Though Phil eventually cleared everything up on public stage, fans still can't get enough of the song's more dramatic background. Number 4. John Lennon's Imagine is anti-religion. When John Lennon wrote the song Imagine, no one could have predicted the song becoming a world anthem for peace. Though Lennon did preach a more pacifist lifestyle throughout most of his solo career, the details behind his most important tune extended far beyond just peace and love. The whole background of the lyrics came from Lennon's wife Yoko Ono, whose writings inspired John to think of his ideal society. Though many talk about the utopian vision of the chorus, the verses are where the real bite of the song comes in. Instead of calling for just peace, Lennon imagines a world that has no need for religion, government, or even possessions to dictate your moves. While the crux of this message is mainly a positive life for all, Lennon's distaste for more authoritative figures of the world pulls no punches. Then again, that hasn't stopped the song from being covered by countless artists and being used in religious ceremonies throughout the years. Whether or not the core meaning has been muddied over time, Imagine still remains one of Lennon's greatest songwriting achievements, with an indelible message for the world. Number 3, Rush's The Trees is about political unrest. By the time Canadian power trio Rush got around to making the album Hemispheres, they were deep into their more heavy prog rock period. The cerebral stories behind the band's epics made for engaging tales of grandeur for their listeners. Even the shorter cuts on the record had much more going on beneath the surface. If anyone were to casually listen to the song The Trees, many would see it as a pretentious story nil part, thought up about giving actual plants a narrative arc. Although the trees in question are prominent in the story, the message of the song goes beyond just arbor appreciation. The entire trees metaphor quickly blossoms into a bold observation of more libertarian political ideals. All of a sudden, these menial trees have gone from being just casual plants to having actual political conflicts, with the smaller feats crying oppression over the taller trees' dominion over all the sunlight. The song then ends on the idea of socialism being manifested in the form of hatchets and axes grinding down on the trees. While many people would tend to grasp on the more similar topics amid Rush's epics, many have found there's nothing truly simple when it comes to Rush. Number 2, Tom Petty didn't write American Girl about teen suicide. American Girl has become the sonic foundation for Tom Petty's career. While this Florida rocker had his fair share of hits with Free Fallin' to Refugee, American Girl will always stand as his definitive song. Though Petty had a specific type of girl in mind, the girl that most fans thought of had more dire problems on her mind. The whole song paints a vivid picture of a girl trying to run away from her town's problems and find the real meaning of her life in the heart of America. Whilst it's a beautiful thought of this girl to dream of bigger things, fans were skeptical about the second verse's specifics. The idea of this girl hearing cars rolling by on the interstate while thinking of her old flame has led many to think the song deals with a girl contemplated suicide post-breakup. Petty was initially taken aback at the fans' more morbid conclusion, stating that he hadn't even heard of any theory at the time of recording. Despite the outlandish death connotations, the record went on to become Petty's most indelible hit, which he continued to play up until his final tour before his death in 2017. With 40 years of hindsight, no suicidal speculation has been able to diminish the energy of this rock classic. Number 1, The Beatles' Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was inspired by Julian Lennon's drawings. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was seen as a true watershed moment for rock music. Coming out at the start of the Summer of Love, this marked a turning point in the Beatles' career, as well as putting them at the centre of the counterculture movement. Given the band's documented history of being high on acid during this period, most people latched onto the fact that John Lennon's cosmic Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds happened to spell out LSD. With the media quick to capitalise on the band's drug habits, Lennon cleared the air by saying the actual inspiration was a little closer to home. When pressed about the song, Lennon talked about how his son Julian came home from school one day with a picture he drew of one of his classmates, Lucy, with the caption, "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds." Seeing the beauty in the phrase, Lennon set to work on the Alice in Wonderland-like imagery of the tune. Then again, once fans took a listen to the song's more hazy atmosphere, it was much easier to make the connection to drugs than a drawing. While Lennon defended it constantly up until his death, this psychedelic masterpiece isn't too far removed from its narcotic connotations. And that's our list. What do you think of these song meanings? Leave us a comment below and let us know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. But for now, I've been Kirsten from WhatCulture, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hello and welcome to the grand final of Nevermind the WhatCulture.
Gonna party like it's your birthday? Billie Eilish.
Living on the prowl. Scooby-Doo. Ash, it's time for the second round now.
7.
Didn't he do well?